Justin Bieber hadn't been considered so attractive, maybe he would have been tossed aside a long time ago. In 2023, he shocked a lot of people by selling the rights to his entire music catalog for $200 million. Too many, it looked like. A major win. Secured a fortune that could support his family for generations, but the celebration didn't last long. Fans began noticing changes in him. He seemed tired, distant, and hardly ever appeared at events. That once constant energy he had, it looked like it was gone. People started asking questions. Why isn't he releasing new music? Why is he skipping major appearances? And why does he always seem so checked out? Instead of riding the high from his massive payday, he disappeared into the background. And while he kept a low profile, his wife Hailey was still making regular public appearances, often alone. This led to whispers online and in the media that something was going wrong behind the scenes. Sure, Justin had taken breaks from the spotlight before, but this time it felt different. Fans felt the shift more deeply, especially because it happened after he'd seemingly gotten everything he ever wanted: huge amounts of money, a loving marriage, and a respected place in pop culture. Yet rather than feeling like a success story, this version of Justin seemed more lost than ever. People began to wonder if selling his music wasn't just a financial move. Maybe he'd also let go of the thing that used to keep him going, the passion to create and perform. Maybe the music meant more to him than he thought, and now that it was gone, so was a part of himself. His journey to the top wasn't exactly natural. From the start, there were powerful people behind the scenes guiding him, managing him, and sometimes using him to make money. He wasn't just a teenager with a dream, he was the product of a system designed to turn talent into profit. Back in the early days, Scooter Braun found Justin on YouTube when he was just 13. Scooter saw something big and moved quickly to get Justin into the music business. Once he was signed, everyone around him, Braun, Usher, the record labels, saw nothing but money. They molded Justin into the perfect pop star, someone who could sell out arenas, move millions of records, and keep the cash flowing. By 16, he was performing at the White House. At 18, he was already worth tens of millions, but the success came with a price. Behind the scenes, the pressure kept piling up. The media never left him alone. Paparazzi followed him everywhere. Constant touring drained his energy. There was no room for peace or privacy. The pressure was non-stop, and it built up quickly. Eventually, it became too much to handle. He started to act out, getting into fights, facing legal trouble, and making headlines for all the wrong reasons. From 2013 to 2015, Justin's public struggles became tabloid entertainment. Every bad moment, every mistake was front-page news. His arrests, his drug use, his meltdowns, they turned into a spectacle for the world to watch. It wasn't entertainment. It was a breakdown happening in real time. And even though his team tried to protect him, it was already clear that something inside Justin was breaking. Burnout had sunk in. The fame that once lifted him up now seemed to be tearing him down. It wasn't just a rough patch, it was a deep collapse. Justin himself later admitted just how serious it had gotten. In a documentary, he opened up about the darkest times. He said his drug use became so dangerous that his own security had to check if he was breathing while he slept. He mixed different substances, lean pills, even stronger drugs, and it nearly destroyed him. Scooter Braun later confirmed that they feared for Justin's life daily. That's how serious it got. Then came a small comeback. In 2015, his album Purpose brought him back into the spotlight. The music was a hit. People loved it. The critics were impressed. But even though the album did well, it wasn't a complete turnaround. It was more like a temporary patch than a real solution. In 2018, Justin married Hailey Baldwin, and many thought this would be the beginning of a calm, healthy new chapter for him. From the outside, it looked like everything had settled down. But underneath, the problems hadn't disappeared. In 2020. Justin revealed that he had been struggling with Lyme disease and severe anxiety. Those weren't just physical or emotional issues, they were signs that the trauma of growing up in the spotlight had never fully left him. In interviews, he admitted that he still felt lost and was trying to figure out who he was without all the fame. He shared that he didn't really know what his purpose was anymore outside of music. That truth hit fans hard. It made them realize he might still be carrying all the weight from his early years in the business. The truth is, when you grow up with the world watching your every move, it's easy to lose yourself. And for Justin, it seems like that search for peace and purpose is still going. Even with money, fame, and love, something still feels missing, and maybe that's what fans are seeing now. Not a man who's winning, but one who's still trying. To heal from everything he's been through, most people thought Justin Bieber had finally found balance. But the truth is, those public meltdowns over the years weren't just a young guy making mistakes, they were warnings. They revealed that his so-called stability wasn't built on anything solid. When the massive money deal hit in 2023, it became painfully clear that things weren't as smooth as they looked. That $200 million catalog sale wasn't just another headline, it shook the industry. Justin sold every song he'd released before. 2022 to Hypnosis Songs Capital. That included the biggest hits of his career. For fans, it was hard to process. Why would someone give up everything they've created before turning 30? To the outside world, it was framed as a smart move. A young, successful artist locking in his legacy and securing financial freedom while his catalog was still generating huge returns. On paper, it sounded perfect, but people started asking the uncomfortable questions. Why now? Why so suddenly? Justin wasn't some artist whose star had faded. He was still considered one of the biggest names in pop. Selling everything off that early in the game didn't feel like part of a plan, it felt like a retreat. Insiders started whispering about possible reasons behind the sale. Some pointed to his health, both physical and mental, and said he was done with the non-stop demands of fame. Others mentioned burnout, a need to protect his peace, or just a deep desire to escape the chaos of the industry for good. But then, the rumors got messier. People started bringing up Scooter Braun, again the same guy who discovered Justin and guided him through the wildest parts of his career. Braun had already sold his own company for over $1 billion. Maybe Justin felt like just another part of the machinery, pushed into a deal he didn't fully trust. Sure, $200 million is life-changing. That kind of money means Justin never has to work again. But what if he also gave up the last thing that made him feel like himself? Music was always his outlet, his connection to the world. Fans started wondering if he didn't just sell songs. Maybe he gave up his spark. That fire that kept him moving forward might have been tied to those tracks, those performances, those pieces of his story, and now they belong to someone else. So what's left to fuel the creativity? Since the deal, people have noticed a shift. Justin looks different. Paparazzi catch him in public, looking out of place, blank expression, stiff posture, disconnected from everything around him. He's been skipping out on major events where his friends and peers are still making headlines. Even church, a place that once felt like a safe space for him, is no longer part of his regular routine. And as his public appearances faded, the speculation exploded. Social media started lighting up with fresh rumors. Some fans, noticing his appearance and behavior, started questioning if he was falling back into old habits. There's no hard evidence of anything, but that hasn't stopped people from digging into every video clip and photograph. They analyze his eyes, his movements, his body language, trying to find clues that he's struggling again. And while the internet keeps spinning theories, Justin stays silent. The lack of response only fuels the fire. It's the kind of silence that doesn't feel peaceful, it feels heavy at the same time. Hailey Bieber has been in full public mode. She's still doing brand campaigns, showing up to media interviews and posting regularly. Hi Vogue, I'm Hailey Bieber. Her presence is polished and consistent, while Justin seems to be retreating more and more into the background. Reporters and fans have started asking the obvious question: is everything okay at home? Are they just living separate public lives by choice? Or is something falling apart behind closed doors? These questions don't come out of nowhere. When people see a massive difference in energy between two people who used to be so in sync, they start to wonder, especially when one partner seems to be thriving and the other appears to be slowly fading. And even though Justin hasn't confirmed or denied anything, the silence speaks louder than words. His absence creates a vacuum that others are all too happy to fill with theories. But underneath all of this, there's a bigger, darker story most people don't want to admit. Justin's been part of a machine since the beginning. He was treated like a brand, not a person. Managed by powerful people, signed to big labels, controlled by investors, he was someone's business model. Every scandal turned into a story that made money. Every comeback was a calculated move. Even now, the media spins his current struggle into content for clicks. His wins and losses have been monetized for over a decade. $200 million sale wasn't just a paycheck. It was a handover of ownership. Now a corporate investment group owns the rights to the songs that defined his career. They'll keep making money off of them whether Justin ever makes another song or not. And in some strange way, this might have been the endgame all along. Push him until he's spent, cash out his legacy, and move on to the next artist. He was never fully in control. So when people wonder where Justin went, the sad truth might be that he didn't go anywhere, he crashed. And even with all the fame, money, and love around him, it wasn't enough to keep the weight from crushing him. He's been carrying that pressure since he was a kid. Now, without the music, without the fire, without even the same level of public support, it looks like he's being pulled back into the darkness he spent years trying to escape. His catalog is gone, his voice is quieter, and every step he takes or doesn't take is turned into a headline. That's the cost of being a celebrity today. The world will cheer you on, but it will also watch you fall apart just to keep the views coming in. And if you're still curious about where this all leads, or you want to stay up on more untold stories from the world of fame? Don't forget to subscribe. We're dropping new celebrity gossip videos every single day. No breaks, so make sure to like, share, and leave a comment.